Okay, so welcome everyone for the CT Small Business Boost Fund webinar. We are excited that you're joining today. And as we start, remember you can put your questions and answers in that little box function as we go. And I'm going to turn it over to Beth McFadden, the support organization for outreach and marketing for the CT Small Business Boost Fund. So here you are, Beth.
Thanks, Kate, and thanks everyone for being here. I'm going to take a quick moment to just orient you to the website where you can find a number of resources and additional information about the Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund. And we'll also walk through a few of our video assets that you can use to learn about the program or share with others who might be interested. So just to give you a quick tour of the website, the homepage, you can find a variety of important pieces of information about the application process, the loan terms, the eligibility requirements, and some other overview information. You can explore who the lending organizations are under the lenders section. You can also access a variety of stories of borrowers who have been through the application and underwriting and loan closure process and have benefited from the program. And then you can also find, if you have any questions about the program, there's a couple of FAQs on the FAQ page. Likewise, on the resource page, you're able to request business support services or directly reach out to some of the technical assistance providers with the program. The pre-application button up here is the page where you will be able to submit your pre-application, which Jovanna from NDC will explore further today. And then if you need to access the site in any additional languages, you can toggle into 5 different languages under this tab over here. So with that, I'll start with just showing you a quick overview video that provides just a few high-level information points about the Connecticut Boost Fund.
Do you operate a small business or nonprofit in Connecticut? If so, you may be interested in learning more about the Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund. The Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund provides small businesses and nonprofits with low-interest fixed-rate loans. Depending on eligibility, you can borrow between $5,000 to $500,000. The goal is to connect businesses with community lenders who consider the people and the stories behind the businesses, not just the numbers on a spreadsheet. The funds can be used for a wide variety of things like equipment, payroll, rent and utilities, renovations, marketing, supplies, and other expenses. Loans can be used alongside small business grants, PPP, and other programs. The fund is a one-stop shop where you can get business support and guidance before, during, and after the loan application process. By helping small businesses and nonprofits move beyond today's challenges, they can focus on their future. To learn more and apply, visit ctsmallbusinessboostfund.org.
All right, and then I'm just going to hop over to the borrower stories area and show you a couple of real stories of borrowers who have benefited from the program. So this will explore Vincencia Aduce's base management and her experience with the Connecticut Boost Fund.
My name is Vincencia Aduce. The name of my business is Vase Management. I heard about the Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund online. I said, this is something that I think might help, other than the traditional bank.
The CT Boost Fund is designed to really assist businesses that oftentimes don't get the assistance necessarily that they need.
The process of acquiring the Small Business Boost Fund took a month, and the process was very seamless. This loan allowing us to grow our working capital, which as a result, allow us to bid on bigger projects.
Base management is a perfect example of where CT Boost can be of assistance. The business was continuing to grow and needed funding at a good fixed rate and long-term very quickly.
To be able to provide opportunities for small businesses to be able to get to the next level, I think that's a great thing.
And then the last story that we'll explore is Kamara Moody, the owner of Little Sunshine Home Daycare, who both applied and accessed a loan and access business support services with SBDC.
My name is Kamara Moody, and I'm the owner of Little Sunshine Home Daycare LLC. I'm a 24-hour family child care facility licensed by the state of Connecticut. I heard about the Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund on the news. I was inspired to apply because of the interest rate for one, but I was introduced by Joe Williams from the Connecticut SBDC.
When the Boost Fund came out, Kamara was one of my clients that I really thought about. This is a perfect program that she would utilize to help her with expansion. We walked her through the process. We took her to one of the CDFIs, the Pursuit Lendings, where she received her funding from. We've actually brought in Pursuit Lending through Maryland, and we sat as a team of saying, what do you really need? How can we help you? The services through the Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund, not just access to capital.
We provide a number of services, and they include application assistance. It includes financial analysis, business advice.
My experience working with Mark and Marlon has been great. It was definitely a teachable moment for someone like me who, it was my first time applying for a business loan. And they made it very easy for me, pulling my financials together. Having Mark with me was like my human business plan. I'm expanding my childcare services from a family childcare to a small center, and the funds will be used for working capital.
The fund is there to assist you. I would encourage every business owner to apply to the Boost Fund.
Alrighty. Thanks for walking through those with us. Just wanted to give you a few small details about the fund and to share a couple of borrower stories for how the fund can support business owners. And as Kate mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat or the Q&A box. And Kate, I'll pass it back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Beth. Those are really helpful. And again, you can always go to the CT Small Business Boost Fund website to see those videos and check out any of the FAQs, things like that. Again, we are going to go through two presentations from Jovanna and Scott. You can ask questions as we go, but I think we're going to reserve the responses until the end. So let's get into it. Jovanna will go first. She is from the NDC on the small business lending side, and then we'll have Scott from the CT Small Business Development Center. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Jovanna.
Thank you, Kate. Can everyone see the presentation?
Not yet.
Not
Yep.
there it is.
Okay. Is it in presentation mode?
Yes, should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It looks great.
Just making sure. Hello, everyone. Like Kate said, my name is Jovanna Mejia. I'm an associate lending manager with the National Development Council, NDC for short. And I'm going to go through the application process for the CT Boost Fund. That is something that, you know, we hear a lot of difficulties with because it's several steps that you have to go through in order to get to either technical assistance and or one of the participating CDFI lenders. So I don't know why it's not going to the next, is it on the next slide?
It is on the first slide still.
Yeah, it's not moving. I don't.
Is it moving on your screen?
No.
And
Do
just try to
you wanna-
reload it.
You want to stop the share? We can
Yeah, I'm gonna
start it.
stop it.
All right, and just to say, the chat was disabled before, so now everyone can also write in there if you would like to. And if you use the Q&A function, we should be able to kind of cumulatively keep the questions going and shared in that function. But thanks, John. We see your question. And
Sharing again.
it's about minimum revenue requirements providing a loan to a company. So ideally, we will cover that. And if we don't, we will at the end.
All right, can everyone see the next slide? Application process?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
it's fine.
Fantastic.
There you go. Let's
So the very first thing that you need to do is go to the CT Boost Loan Fund website. When you get to the website, you'll be able to select pre-application. Once you go through the questions, you'll get to a matched section. Then you'll be invited to apply by one of the participating lenders. Then you'll be able to upload the documentation required for the program. The lender will then review your application. Get to the closing part, it will be an electronic signature and funding. Once your application is approved, if you get to the approval process. And then every single month, you will automatically take out the monthly payment for the CT Boost loan program. This is a loan program, it's not a grant. You do have to repay the money that you borrow. This is not a forgivable loan program. So again, you will have to repay the funds that you do borrow. This is just a very high overview of what the application process is. I promise we will go in detail with you how to get to a lender or technical assistance. I don't know why it's showing a blue screen. I apologize, I'm having some difficulties here. Okay, so this is the on the CT Boost website. Once you get to the website, there's a pre-apply on the top right corner of the website. You're going to want to click on there. It's gonna ask you, sorry about that. It's gonna ask you a series of questions. Once you answer those questions, you'll then get to, it's not showing everything. There we go. Once you complete the questions, it'll get to this page. Congrats, we've matched you with our best partners. It'll provide you with the names depending on the questions that you answer. You may have several lenders available for you to choose from, or you may have one or two. Each lender has their own parameters that they establish as far as the applications that they're willing to receive. So like I said, you may have a few, you may have one. It just depends on how you answer the questions. There's no right or wrong answer to the questions that are being asked. This is very specific and true to your business. Once you get here, you'll be able to select a lender. And again, depending on the questions and how you answer them, you may not be at application ready. So you may just have business services available for you. which is the technical assistance piece, which is great because they will be able to walk you through the entire process and get you application ready. So you may have lenders available to you right after you complete the questions, or you may just have technical assistance available to you to help you be able to get to application ready. So once you do that, you're able to select either a lender, or if you feel like you would benefit from having the assistance of technical assistance, you can go ahead and connect with both at the time. So you will click connect. Once you click connect, I'm sorry, let me back up for a second. You can also, in the on the lenders, including the technical assistance, if you hit the plus sign under details or under connect, details plus sign, you'll be able to get a little snippet of what each lender and technical assistance provider, the languages that they speak, just very detailed information about the lenders. So you select which lender you want to work with or technical assistance provider you want to work with. Once you click connect, it'll go green and provide you with a check mark. Once you see this, you know that you have done the right thing. It has to be green with a little check mark because that's going to select the lender or technical assistance provider that you're going to be working with. Now, let me show you the website. I'm going to walk you through the application process so that way everyone can see just how easy it is. And you also get to see some of the questions that are asked about your business. This is just going to be a test case, so I'm just going to answer, provide some answers. So you get to pre-apply. And this is going to take you to the page. You can go ahead and without pre-applying, you can select business support services. This is our technical assistance provider. You can request support here before you even do the pre-application. If you feel you need that, that's perfectly fine. We also encourage you to request support. If you don't feel like you need that additional support and you want to go ahead and fill out the pre-application, just keep scrolling down and it's going to take you to this portion right here. This is the very first question. So how much do you want to borrow? The maximum is $500,000 for the program. So you can borrow between $5,000 to $500,000 as the maximum for the CT Boost loan fund. So I'm just going to go half and put $250,000. How do you plan to use your loan? Let's just say I need some working capital. I am low on funds and just need some additional working capital to get me through. What is the name of my business? So I'm just gonna put J Mejia LLC. My business type, I'm gonna go with an LLC. My industry, professional services. My time in business, I'm just gonna say that I've been in business for 1 to 2 years. My business address, I'm just going to put in our office address. My information. I would like to be contacted by phone in the afternoon. The next question is, what is your total revenue last year? This is where you're going to want to know your financials and what your revenues were that you reported to the IRS. So I'm gonna say that my business last year realized a gross annual revenue of less than 100,000. Did you earn a profit in 2022? We're gonna say yes. What was your annual net profit in 22? So it's a very small business. I'm gonna say I did about 15 in net profit. How many full-time employees I have? It's just 2 full-time employees. Do I have any prior bankruptcies? 1 prior bankruptcy, 2 or more, I'm gonna go with, I don't have any prior bankruptcies. Do you have collateral to support the loan? For this program, it's not necessary for you to have collateral to put up in order to be eligible for this loan. You will, however, be a personal guarantor. So you and any other owner of the business that has 20% or more ownership will have to sign a personal guarantee, meaning that if the business defaults on the loan, you will be personally responsible for making sure that the loan gets repaid. So I'm gonna say I don't have any collateral at all. How much revenue do you expect to make this year? I'm gonna go with less than 100,000 again.
Jovanna,
Yes.
I would go back to your requested amount and lower that amount considering what you're putting in for your
Oh,
revenues.
that's true. Yeah, I just wanted to
Yep.
just show. Because this is typically what we see. People like to put the largest amount to see what it is that they're eligible for.
Just put 25 in.
So usually in the underwriting process, we get to this is how much you're eligible for. Do I have a business plan? I'm gonna say I don't have a business plan. I don't have a market analysis. I don't know what projections are. I mean, I know what my business is and I can tell you about my business, but I don't have it written down anywhere what the overview of my business is. So I'm just gonna go with no. Are you interested in additional support for your small business? Well, I mean, they're mentioning a business plan, so why not a business plan? I could also use a little bit of help with let's see, accounting and marketing and sales. So continue. Is your business owned by women, people of color, veterans, persons with disability, and or LGBTQ identifying people? Yes. I am a woman, I am Latina. Woman, Latina. What is your personal credit score? Well, I'm gonna go with, I think I have fair credit. This is where, as an underwriter, I would say know your credit score prior to. So make sure that you do know what your credit score is. So it isn't new to you when your credit comes back and it's lower than what you thought it was. And also, this is another technical assistance plug. If you check your credit score and you see that your credit score is 580 to 619 or possibly even below 580, this is another great way where you can turn to technical assistance, one of our technical assistance providers, because they'll be able to assist you in how to improve your credit score. So I'm going to say it's fair. All right, so congrats. We've matched you with one of our best partners. So right here, it tells me that I matched with 3 lenders, 3 business services. So that's 3 technical assistance providers and 7 additional resources. So we have these 3 lenders here: Ascendus, Pursue, and DC. Like I mentioned before, if you click on details, it'll provide you a little bit of detail. So here I can see that they speak these languages, and their information right here. They've been established since 1991. They financed 200 million, 22,000 businesses served. Let's see what Pursuit. So Pursuit, they only have English and Spanish. Their amount financed to date, how many businesses they serve. They've been established a little bit longer. Okay. Details about NBC. They speak a couple of languages. Amount financed, served. They've been around since 1969. Great. I would then make my informed decision and connect with the lender that I've chosen. I also would like to work with one of the technical service providers. So the same thing, if you click on the plus, it'll provide you details about the technical assistance provider, and a little blurb about what they do and how they're able to help you. So you'll see here, they have English and Spanish. They've served 20,000 businesses. They've been established since 1981. Some of the services that they offer, they can help you with a business plan, accounting, marketing, sales, cash flow management. I mean, here's a whole list of everything. And then the cost is free because this is a no cost service to you. Then we have the Women's Business Development Council, the same thing. These are all the services that they provide. They speak English and Spanish. Though it's not listed here, they have the Spanish here. And then the University of Hartford Entrepreneurial and Women's Business Center. It provides you with all their information, the services that they provide. Then you also have additional resources, and you're able to learn a little bit more about these resources that are also available to you. We highly recommend that you work with a technical assistance provider to get you to application ready, or if you have any questions, like I mentioned, credit, maybe you're not really sure about the revenue of your business or some of the documentation that is required that the lenders will ask you for. That's what technical assistance is here for, and that's what they're able to assist you with. So this is the pre-application process. I will again emphasize, please make sure once you select either a technical assistance provider or a lender, please make sure to hit the connect button, because that is what is going to get you to be able to connect with the lender and technical assistance provider that you've selected. You will see this turn green, and you know that you have the green light because you've connected with the lender and technical assistance provider. Come back to the.
Jovanna, I just wanted to let you know that there's a few questions in the chat for you whenever you have a moment.
Oh, let me. See if this will let me go.
I'll read them to you.
Okay.
So someone was asking if there's a minimum revenue requirement for providing a loan to a company.
So what I would say is know your business and what it is that you're looking for. So, you know, the program is up to $500,000, but how much is it that you're looking to borrow? So if you're looking for working capital, well, how much is that? It's, you know, depending on the size of your business, you know, it may be 500,000, it may be 10, 15, 20. It just depends on your specific business and what your needs are. If you're looking to purchase machinery and equipment, you know, you have a landscaping company and you need to buy some riding lawnmowers, you know, that's going to be a couple of $1,000. So, you know, just know your business and what it is that you're hoping to accomplish with this loan.
I think there was a oh,
Yeah, I was just going to say, Kate, the business needs to demonstrate the ability to repay the debt. So you have to be able to demonstrate, your financials need to demonstrate the ability to afford that new monthly payment along with your existing debt. So if I'm understanding the question correctly in terms of having that revenue, yes, your revenue correlates directly with the loan amount you're requesting. It's called your debt service coverage ratio. And it is, in this program, there is some flexibility to that versus normal bank underwriting. They're a little bit more flexible in terms of that cash flow and that ratio. But yes, you need to demonstrate that the business can afford that payment along with your other business debt.
Yeah, I think there was a similar question about how much you should apply for based on profitability.
Yeah, and that's working where if you're not familiar with the underwriting process or how qualification works, I would strongly recommend speaking with one of the technical assistance providers prior to applying to try to get an idea of what possible, based on your cash flow, how much of a loan you should request. I just saw in the box, someone asked about a minimum debt service coverage ratio. In this program, it's 1.15. Versus typical underwriting requirements in the bank world, it's 1.25. So it's pretty much to have $1.15 of revenue to cover your debt service or cover that loan payment.
And then I guess if we want to just answer a couple more questions before we move on to Scott's portion, is there flexibility with the grace period before the loan needs to start being paid back?
Yes, there's a 3-month, depending on how much money you borrow, the term may be a little different. So it's 60 or 72 months that you're able to borrow. But there is a 3-month interest only period. So you will only pay interest on the loan. And after the 3rd month, you'll then start paying principal and interest. So if you're borrowing less than 150,000, your term is going to be 60 months. If you're going to borrow 150,000 or more, it's going to be 72 months.
And I mean, I think you kind of answered this one. If there's a minimum revenue requirement, I think you kind of answered that.
Yeah, that was the one we addressed. Yep.
Yeah. And then you mentioned, are the loans personally guaranteed or not? I believe you mentioned that.
They are personally guaranteed.
Correct.
And as far as a nonprofit, are they requiring a personal guarantee?
No.
And how would the nonprofit answer the question about the credit score?
They really wouldn't. They should just put in a number, because once we get to the application process, we'll see that it's a nonprofit, and there's different requirements for a nonprofit because there is no personal guarantee. So we'll need a letter from the board. You know, let's say I work for the nonprofit and I am going to apply to the CT Boost Fund for funds for the nonprofit. We will need a letter from the board or board minutes authorizing me, Jovanna Mejia, to be able to apply to the CT Boost for these funds. So that would, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, keep in mind that the pre-application process that Jovanna just showed us is a matching process. It's not a pre-qualification of the loan in any way. It's matching you, the applicant, with one of the 7 lenders that are participating, and hopefully one of the 4 technical assistance providers. So as Jovanna was explaining before, each of the lenders, just as you're answering those questions and those drop downs, each of the lenders have answered those questions also, and set up these parameters. And that's where the matching comes into play. For the most part, the underwriting process is all the same with all the different lenders. But to give you a little bit of an example of the difference is some of the lenders might be looking for loans with a minimum credit score of, say, 640 only. So if you have a credit score less than 640, you will not match with those lenders. While some of the other lenders, in fact, one of the lenders I think is looking at credit scores less than even 580. It's 580 to 619. I think there's one of the lenders that's looking at loans with even a lower score than that. Some are a minimum credit score of 620. Those are some ideas in terms of the parameters of matching up in this process.
Loan amount is also another parameter.
Yes.
Some of the lenders will, they don't want to lend more than 100,000. So if you feel like your business needs 250, you wouldn't necessarily match with that specific lender because they're only going to lend up to 100,000. So the same, just like Scott said, it was very well put. The parameters are the questions that the lender has answered prior to. So when you answer your questions, you'll be able to match with the same lenders that answered basically the same as you did.
All right, and is there a minimum credit score like that will, if you're below, will disqualify you?
No, just as we were just saying, it won't disqualify you, but you need to match. So if you do have a lower credit score, you have to keep in mind, not all 7 lenders are looking at credit scores less than 620. Most of them are pretty flexible. I think there's 1 or 2 lenders who are starting at a minimum of 640 or above, but there's a nice range. So once you're below 620, your options become less and less of actually matching with a lender. And something that also comes into play that you should keep in mind is that each lender has designated the number of loans. This is an online application process. There have been thousands of applications that have come through the process, or I should say matching the pre-application. Each lender has designated how many files they're working on at a given time. So there is a possibility that you might check all the boxes with one particular lender, but if as they call their pipeline is full, you may not match. But at that point, again, strongly recommend reaching out to one of the technical assistance providers so they can review your application or your pre-application and look into it to see if there's a possibility we can get you back into the program.
Yeah, especially if you think that your credit score is going to be, or you've checked your credit score and you know that it's less than 620, my advice is to work with a technical assistance provider.
So I think on that note, we'll turn it over to Scott and you can talk more about that piece.
Okay.
And again, folks, feel free to keep putting the questions in the chat. And thank you.
Yeah, Jovanna, if you could just hit the red stop share. Okay, great. Let's see if I could bring up a quick presentation. Let's see. Do this. Let's see.
It was up for a moment and then it went away.
Yeah, I was just trying to see with the, I was just trying to move this box over so I can just get rid of the side.
And we don't see the box.
Okay. Again, I'm Scott Arnold with the Connecticut SBDC, which is one of the technical assistance providers in the program. The other technical assistance providers that are participating in the Boost program is the Women's Business Development Council, which many of you may have heard of. They're headquartered down in your neck of the woods in Fairfield County. There's also the Entrepreneur and Women's Business Center at the University of Hartford, and our friends at the Minority Construction Council. A lot of people wonder what is technical assistance, commonly referred to as TA for short for us in the industry. We do apologize for sometimes using our acronyms, but it's also commonly referred to as consulting or business advising. And it simply is the process of providing targeted support to an organization or a small business like yours that are in a developmental need or problem. So it's an effective way of building capacity for an organization. Connecticut has, the SBDC is a national organization, even though we're all individually operated here. The SBDC here in Connecticut is run through the University of Connecticut. We provide, as well as the other TA providers in this program, it is free counseling. There is no cost and there's no trick to it. Once you sign up with us, we're not going to charge you for our services down the road. Okay, it's always free with the SBDC. Some of the funders, so you might ask, hey, how do you pay your people? How do you survive? Well, we are funded through the SBA, the State of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development, and the UConn School of Business. So we often ask, how can we help? Well, when it comes to the Boost program, we can help determine your eligibility. As Jovanna was showing it on the website, prior to completing the pre-application, you can speak with one of the technical assistance providers to kind of run through your situation to determine your eligibility, if you might be eligible or not. We can help you understand the program details. I know we did a broad overview today, but we can go into more detail in terms of the program details and conditions. We can assist with the online pre-application. Just what we went through. It's pretty simple, but sometimes I've talked to people each and every day and walk them through that pre-application, how to answer some of those questions. Hopefully once you're matched with one of the lenders, the TA providers can provide assistance in preparing your loan documentation. Once you match with the lender, within a day or two, you're going to get an email from the lender saying that, okay, congratulations, you've matched with NDC or Pursuit or Ascendus. And they're going to, in that email, it's going to provide you a list of documentation that you're going to have to provide. That's when the formal application that you're all used to when you apply for your loan, they're going to ask for your tax returns and other supporting documentation. Sometimes, depending on the time of year it is, they may be asking you for a year-to-date profit loss statement or a year-to-date balance sheet, which a lot of small business don't know exactly what that is. They lean on their accountant once a year to prepare their taxes, so they might not be comfortable and they might not be working with an online software program to be able to print off that year-to-date P&L or balance sheet. And the TA providers can assist with that, along with any of the other documentation they may ask. We can review the loan package prior to submitting it to the lender. Once you submit the documents, there's a possibility the lender may come back to you and say, we need some additional information, or we need this or something like that. Again, that's where your TA help could also help you answer those questions. And there's also post-loan technical assistance. Well, what's that? Well, once we've helped you with the pre-application and helped you apply and hopefully got you matched and hopefully get your loan approved, there's a good chance you still may need some post-loan or technical assistance after you've received your loan. And that may not be related directly to the Boost program. It could be additional marketing and additional other support that I'll mention here in a little bit. But again, there's no cost to the advising service. It is always confidential and it is professional support. Even if you're eligible for a loan for the Boost program, there's a couple things you need to consider prior to applying. The ability to repay the loan. As Jovanna mentioned, this is a loan. This is not a grant. It is not like many of the other pandemic relief programs where it was forgivable loans. This is a loan. You will be required to pay this loan and pay it in full, and you're personally guaranteeing this loan. You also want to consider how the loan fits into your business plan, the impact of the loan on your business, and other financial obligations. Again, no cost. These are some, here's a short list of typical required documentation. I apologize for some that have applied for loans and have heard this before, but to some that you haven't, this is some of the typical documentation that the lenders are going to ask you for. 2 most recent years of your business tax returns, or internally prepared financials, or other proof of revenue, a year-to-date income statement, balance sheet, a debt schedule. Well, a debt schedule is all the loans or any other credit cards or debt that the business has, because as I was mentioning before about that debt service coverage ratio, that's how they calculate that, by knowing all the other debt of the business. Financial projections. Your historical financials may not support the loan you're requesting, but some of the lenders will lean on financial projections based on, hey, I'm getting this loan to purchase that additional equipment so I can increase revenues. And my projections are based on getting that loan, getting that additional equipment, hiring that additional staff so I can increase my revenues, and my projected revenues can support that loan. Again, these are all things, the financial projections is something any of the TA providers can help you with. Other business documents that may be required, a business plan. Maybe, maybe not. Don't get hung up on that. You don't want to go through the process of business plan. A lot of the lenders don't require the business plan. There is a small amount of money, I believe it's 10% of the loan fund, is reserved for startup businesses in the Boost program. In that case, you will be required to provide a business plan, possibly a copy of your lease agreement, an attestation regarding being up to date on all your local taxes. No defaults on any state financial assistance or obligations. And I'll get into that in a couple seconds here. A valid operating license, if applicable. If you're in the childcare, food service industry, you need to provide a copy of your operating license and make sure it's up to date. This is very important. This program is funded with state taxpayer dollars. So each and every business applying for the program needs to provide letters from the Connecticut Department of Revenue Services, providing evidence that you're up to date with all tax obligations. A certificate of good standing from the Secretary of the State's office. Make sure your annual report for your business is on file and is paid and is current. And evidence of good standing from the Department of Labor. These are very important. If you do not think you're in good standing in each and every one of these departments, please contact them, address this issue. No sense in going through the process and finding out that there's an issue and it's going to hang things up. A couple other final required documentations. They're going to ask for a schedule of your ownership, which is going to list all the owners of the business. Typically in a business loan, any owner, you can have multiple owners as you all know, but any owner that owns 20% or more of the business is going to be required to personally guarantee the loan and provide all personal financial information, including their personal tax returns. Credit checks, they're gonna, again, all 20% or more owners of the business, they're gonna pull a credit report on them. Okay, they're gonna ask for the evidence of legal formation. Obviously, if you've all registered your businesses, if you're not a sole proprietor, you've registered your business with the Secretary of the State's office, so you need to provide evidence of that legal formation. I mentioned briefly before about the post-loan technical assistance. Here's just some examples of some of the business advising services here at SBDC and most of the other TA providers offer outside of Boost. Access to capital, which is assistance with applying for loans. For example, Boost, financial analysis and cash flow management, market research, and I know you can all read here, but just these again, skimming through the list here, you see this is just some of the other services that the TA providers can assist you with and run your business. Again, it's all free. Just a little snapshot of how to apply for the Boost. Again, just visit that Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund.org website, click that pre-apply tab, get matched with a lender, request free business support services, and you're on your way. Direct any questions both to the SBDC. I thank you for your time. Any questions?
All right, folks, if anyone has any questions, you can definitely put them in the chat or that Q&A box. I know we're getting close to 2 o'clock. I think a lot of great information was shared. A lot of questions were answered. We've recorded this presentation, so we will share it with everyone who did sign up to attend. We'll put it on the BRBC's YouTube channel, so you can refer back to it. Let's see if anyone has any questions. We have some thanks, great presentation.
Kate, if anybody has questions, you have my contact information, or you'll share this. Working for SBDC, which is also the lead technical assistance provider for all the TA providers for the Boost program, feel free. You have my contact information through this webinar. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. Any questions regarding the program, the pre-app, if you get into the process and you've matched with a lender and you have any questions regarding the lender, having trouble getting updates, feel free, always reach through me. I have a great relationship. The lenders in the program are all incredible. The administrators are fantastic. So they're very reachable in terms of getting information. So just any questions, feel free to reach out at any time.
Yeah, so I think on that note, we don't really have any more questions. And if you think of something later on, I will share the contact information for Jovanna and Scott, as well as the recording for this. So again, I thank our presenters. Thank you, Beth, for joining us, and everyone who attended this afternoon. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. All right.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks all.
Thank you, everyone.